In the past year, my agency has generated over $1.5 million cash for our clients who are high ticket coaches, agencies, service providers, and we've done this using one single funnel, the Book a Call funnel. I fucking love the Book a Call funnel. We use it for pretty much all of our clients. We've made a decent amount of money with it. So in this video, I'm not going to be talking about how to start one from scratch if you don't already have one. I'm specifically going to be talking about how to scale yours if you currently have one or if you plan on running one soon. I literally have 45 slides of straight sauce for you guys in this video. But with that said, just to show you that I'm not talking out of my ass, here are some clients that we have used the Book a Call funnel with. Lucas here. In May, we did $300,000. In June, which was last month, we did $200,000. For Lucas, we scaled him to $70,000 a month, made $200,000 cash. Jaden, $650,000 cash. And we have a ton of other clients winning as well, buying their dream cars because of the Book a Call funnel. Okay, so with that said, without wasting any more time, it's time to put you guys on 45 slides of straight sauce. First things first, to preface this video, we are going to be talking about the 4 scaling pillars. So these are going to be the only pillars you need to know and to lock in to actually scale your Book a Call funnel. We're going to be talking about tracking your metrics, your sales process, and making sure that this is proper, having high converting content that get you actually quality leads, and managing your sales team to make sure that these things don't go to waste and we actually collect the money. So pillar number 1, like I said, is metrics. When it comes to scaling your Book a Call funnel, you are going to need to know every single metric inside of your business, because if you don't, you will be going into this blind and you won't know what inside of the business needs fixing in order to actually scale. If you don't already track all of your metrics currently, last week I actually posted a video showing you every single metric you need to track for your Book a Call funnel. I would 100% check that out even before this video, finishing it, or just check it out after, bookmark it for after. There'll be a link below in the description to watch that, but 100% check that out because you need to know your metrics, okay? Because the goal here is to understand your bottlenecks so that you can make data-enforced decisions to actually scale. So the key metrics you're going to want to track are going to be these 3 things. Number 1, your funnel metrics. So when it comes to opt-in rate, qualified application to book to call rate, stuff like that. Your dialing metrics, so things like pickup rate, set rate, how many hours your sales reps are working a day and how many total calls they're doing per day. And then also your sales calls metrics. So, your close rate, your show rate, all of that data per individual sales rep. Again, I go way more in depth into this part inside of the other video in the description, so make sure you go check that out. Now, pillar number 2, the sales process. The goal here is going to be to up your show rate and your close rate. And again, every single pillar inside of this whole entire process, this whole entire slide that I'm showing you guys, is going to be very important. None is more important than the other. They all go hand in hand, so make sure you stay until the end, or else you won't actually be able to scale your business properly. But again, the goal is to up the show rate and the close rate. If you have a low show rate, it's because you are not giving people enough information before their call to justify their decision to show up. And if you have a low close rate, it's either because you have a terrible product, number 1, you either don't have enough or the right pre-call assets, or your closer is just straight up shit, or all of these combined. Okay, so I have 3 very crucial methods that you need to be using at a very high level in order to up your show rate and up your close rate and make sure that it stays that way. The first method here is going to be having a proper post booking page. So as soon as somebody books in, they should automatically be redirected to this page that I'm about to share. If the lead has never been in contact with your email before, your calendar invitation will look like spam. I don't know why, but Calendly and all these other calendar integrations nowadays, they made it so that when someone books in a call, it won't automatically add it to their Google Calendar, and they have to manually go ahead and accept that invite, again, if they haven't been in contact with your email before. So what we have to do is at the top of the page, we need to give them instructions showing them how to accept it, or we need to do some development and add a button which automatically accepts it for them, which we do for our clients, but I'm not going to explain how to do that in this video. But from there, the rest of the page should be for framing. So your goal is to resell them on the fact that they booked the call, because a lot of people in this space have the misconception that the lead already wants to buy just because they booked in the call. And this honestly could not be further from the truth. The lead booked in the call with you or the closer to get more information to help them make a decision. Not because they want to buy, but to help them make a decision, right? So what you need to do before their call is give them as much information as you can right away so that they can make a decision before they even hop on the call. Okay, now this is why we have this redirect page in place again, and also emails, which I'll get into in a little bit. But just a quick recap, make sure you have that image showing them how to accept that calendar invite, number 1, and then we'll get into the framing part in just a second. when it comes to framing, we need to create relevant assets. So we don't want to be giving these people just random ass information with whatever we want to give them. At this point, since we are scaling our book a call funnel, you guys should have the info that you need to create the assets that you need. So you should have sales call recordings from all of your sales calls. If you don't, make sure you are recording your calls. Either use Fathom, you can even use the integrated Google Meet recordings, but make sure that you have sales calls recordings and you have the transcripts so we can upload them into AI later. You should also have objections that you get from your sales team or any questions that regularly pop up from leads. And this right here is going to be the data that we use to create our assets, to actually make it relevant to our lead, to actually warm them up before the call and give them the information that they want. So now how do we actually break up these 3 sections into framing content? We are going to use a 3 video structure. So when you are creating your assets, we found that people are more likely to watch 3 shorter videos compared to 1 long video. So I personally, for our clients, like to split up our post-call page assets into 3 sections. And a rule of thumb, you are going to want to keep these videos pretty short and concise because people don't want to be on a post-breaking call page for, over 10 minutes. So as a rule of thumb, keep each video, 2 to 3 minutes long so that they actually watch it. With that said, the first video that we're going to have out of the 3 is going to be all of the feedback from the salespeople, like questions, and put it all into this video. This will help your lead get all of the info they need to show up to the call. Remember how I was talking about before, how we need to give the lead the information that they want before they hop on the call to justify their decision to show up. Answering their questions will help them make that decision right away. Okay, and this will also help the closer so they don't have to educate the lead on the call, which is the last thing they want to do, obviously. Waste time. It's harder to close this way. So make sure we have this in place. This first video answering all of their questions that they could possibly have. Then video 2 and 3. The second video is going to be all objections in an FAQ style. So whatever objections you get from your closers all the time that, cause leads not to actually close, create belief shifting assets for the leads to watch. Let's say, for example, at the end of a decent amount of our sales calls, leads aren't closing because they're saying, I don't know if I have the time for this. What we can do is use that information, right? People saying that they don't have time for this, have the creator turn that into an asset, breaking down their limiting belief, which shows them that they can still do whatever it is that you want them to do without having to spend the time that they think they need to spend. This way, when they hop on the call, they literally have their objection already handled and the closer doesn't have to actually handle it on the call, right? And this will literally turn your closers into cashiers because, like I said, once they watch this, they're already pre-sold. The closer doesn't have to handle their objection on the call because it was already handled and they're already sold at this point. Now, your third video should be a combination of case studies from current clients or past clients and expectations integrated into that. So show them what they should expect and anticipate when they go through your process, and show these people that you are not just yapping out of your ass by walking them through the process of how you get your current clients' results. So they subconsciously imagine themselves going through the process with you. So I'm not sure if you noticed that, but case studies mixed with expectations. You're showing these guys social proof that you have done this before with past clients, but you're mixing the expectations inside of that at the same exact time. Because you're showing them the process, they now understand how you work. They're also understanding that you have status because you have helped clients get there before. And it's also subconsciously bringing them through the process with you, because when you're talking about the process with your clients, they are subconsciously thinking about themselves going through that process with you as well, which just sells them even more. So these 3 videos are going to be very important to have on your post-call page. They do a lot of pre-selling so that these leads hop on the calls with your closers and just hand over their card just like that. Now, at this point, at the top of our landing page, we have the instructions on how to accept the calendar invite, which we've seen with that alone. If people actually click yes on that, they're 80% more likely to show up to our call. So that is already up in the show up rate. Okay. Now below that, we have those 3 breakout videos that's helping the show up rate and the close rate. But now below all of those things, we're going to want to put a ton of believable testimonials. Okay. So all of your case studies from clients and students. The most important part here though is that they're actually real and believable. Do not, at this point, do not go to Canva, grab a random profile picture of them, put 5 stars next to it and a random quote that they didn't even say. That is actually terrible. Like, just we need these testimonials and case studies to actually be real and personable. So if you haven't already, take some time to actually set up a call with this person, a one-to-one call where it's, you guys are talking to each other, and ask them belief shifting and objection handling questions, which this testimonial video will then turn into a sales asset itself. Number 1, you are going to want to do as many of these calls as possible, because when a lead comes in, you want to make the chances of them correlating with a person inside of your current program as high as possible. So the more that you have, the higher the chance is that this person will find someone that they correlate with and they will actually listen to. Because as we know, when someone is in the position that you want to be in, you are way more likely to listen to them. But if this person can also correlate with this person, for example, their race, their location, the way they speak, their culture, whatever it is, they are even more likely to listen to them and follow along in their footsteps as well. So the more we have, number one, the better. But again, back to the belief shifting and objection handling questions, we want to ask those as well. So the beginning of the video is kind of just, introductions, building rapport, having the current client share their story as well. But throughout this video, we want to ask those belief shifting and objection handling questions too. For example, you can ask a question like, what would you say to somebody who just booked a call who was thinking about working with us? And then your current client or student will answer that question. And this could possibly break the lead's objections and beliefs, which, pre-sells them before the call even more, because now this is an asset. Okay. If they can't do this, try to get a talking head video from them, of them just talking to the camera, answering some questions that you have. I would build them out a framework for them to follow. And, if they can't even do that, or if you just have some of these sparing around, you can also take screenshots from your Discord or school or wherever you host your program of people just talking about the results that they've gotten and put it below those videos. Testimonials are literally going to be a huge selling point for people. So have, again, as many of these as possible. Just please, again, do not fake or use unbelievable testimonials. Now this wraps up the end of the first method for the sales calls process. If you build this out, this post call page with everything I just said, your show rate and close rate will up a lot. Okay. But number two is pre-call emails. This is the second method inside of your sales process that you should be implementing to scale your book a call funnel. These emails are going to be very similar to the way we broke the pre-call page into those three little sections like we were talking about, except we're going to add one more section. So we already have the questions, objections, and expectations / case study section, but in the emails, we're going to be adding in one more section, which is going to be the second layer of questions section. So for all of your first section, which is all of the questions that you're answering, I want you to ask yourself another question. When I answer this lead's first question, what other questions might this person have after getting that answer to the first question, right? Because you must uncover and answer all layers of this lead's questions. There's usually a first question, which is, the main question. But once that question is answered, there is usually a second layer and even, a third layer and a fourth layer, which all must be answered as well. Because like I was saying before, we need to give these leads as much information as possible to justify their decision to show up to the call. So if we're answering one of their questions and there's more questions that stem from that first initial question, they are still left confused and not with the information they need to show up to the call. So we still need to answer those questions too. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? Let's say inside of that first section question, let's take the objection and turn it into a question instead. Let's say, this person is wondering how much time they have to invest into your program or whatever it is. If you answer that question, right, you say 3 hours. Okay, that answers that first question, but now they have another question most likely. It's like, okay, what am I actually spending those 3 hours a day on? If you don't answer that question, this lead is less likely to show up because they don't have the information they need to actually justify their decision. So if you answer that second layer of question, telling them exactly what they're spending those 3 hours a day on, then that pretty much answers all their questions, right? So as you can see, when you answer that first question, there's going to be second layers of questions. Just make sure you're answering all of them to give them as much information as possible. Now, another thing I want to share is your email cadence. So how often you're sending emails, and then also what you're including inside of them as well. Now, using these 4 sections, which I just talked about, we are going to be sending 6 emails a day within a 72-hour time frame. So that's 18 emails within 72 hours. Some of you guys may have heard of this strategy before. This is the Hammer Them strategy by Jeremy Haynes. Let me tell you, I implemented this into my clients' offers, and we saw a drastic increase in show up rate and close rate, especially as well. And these sales calls were way shorter too, because we were answering all of their questions, all of their objections, and giving them all the information they needed before the call with these emails. So you might be thinking, wow, 18 emails in 72 hours, that's a fuck ton of emails, but let me actually explain. How do you know what kind of emails to write that fit in these sections? Again, like I said before, with your 3-section videos, you're going to be using your sales team's feedback. Go through your sales process, look at your sales calls, put them into AI again, and prompt it to give you the biggest objections and questions that these people are asking. Listen to your sales team's feedback. Look at the conversations that are happening on behalf of the business, and then come back and create your emails. It's honestly that simple. Just make sure you are not sending random ass information. It has to align with these sales team's feedback, or else people won't even open your emails and they won't get the information they actually need. Now, the last method for your sales calls process is going to be the group chat method. This one is genuinely insane. I've used it for all of my offers and it helps so much, okay? We need the sales team to get in contact with the lead via their personal phone, okay? And this has to be an iPhone as well, not an Android. I'll explain why. Number one, if you're using a CRM to send messages, you are probably sending those green messages, okay? Which you tell me the last time you took a green message seriously. No one does. It instantly puts a wall up between you and the lead. And the trust is lower and the response rate is also way lower, even non-existent at this point as well. We want to get in contact with this lead to add a personalized touch to up the show rate, okay? Because people do not like to let other people down. So if you can add a name to the face of the closer, this person is much more likely to show up. So what we need to do is use the group chat method. Basically, as soon as the setter confirms the appointment, right? You probably have a dialer calling these people, qualifying them, and confirming their appointments with the closer. They will be adding the lead into a group chat with the closer. And as a rule of thumb, if they're from the US, it's more likely that they'll respond on iMessages. If they're from Europe, I would most likely use WhatsApp and kind of test it out and see, what's happening on there. But you can also have your dialers as well when they are calling these leads, actually just ask them where they're more likely to respond. So that way, it just works out. With that said, what is the actual proper process you should be using for this group chat method? From here, the setter is going to act like the creator/offer owner, basically introducing themselves and acknowledging that they saw the call was confirmed with the lead. And for our offers, we actually use an AI, which we have the creator or offer owner create an evergreen voice message, basically acknowledging the call and the lead and stuff. And then in the beginning, we have the AI basically say their name with the creator's voice. So that the creator doesn't have to go in every single time and create a new voice message with the same context, just with a different name in front. So it just adds that little personalized touch in the beginning when it says their name. But yeah, this actually helps more than you would think. If you want something like this implemented, or anything actually that I'm going over in this video, into your own business, there's a link below. You can book a call with me and see what my services are to help a business like you scale to these $100,000, $300,000 months. Anyways, after that, the closer is going to be making their introduction, and this part is very important, so I want you to pay attention right here. You do not want your closer giving just a basic ass introduction. You don't want to make it evergreen either, like the creator. Okay, this part needs to be way more personalized. So we should have a few things set up already for this group chat. Number one is going to be notes from the setter, from that dialing call, right? So on our offers, I actually have an automation set up so that whenever the setter confirms the lead's appointment, it will show up in Slack with who set the call, who the closer is that is set for, and the notes of the lead. So, after this dialer actually calls this person, they will enter in the form all the notes of the lead. And then basically the Slack message will pop up and it will show all of the notes for that person. So this way, when the closer makes the talking head video to introduce themselves, which that's how we do introductions with the closer, they send a talking head video, not just a message, because again, we want to add that face to the name. But this way, again, when they're making this talking head video, they can read off these notes inside of Slack to connect with the lead even more on a deeper level and make it, 10 times more personalized. This way, they are more likely to respond. And they can also use this information to bait a response from the lead. What I mean by that is, since we have the notes from this lead, we can have the closer say something like this in the talking head video. Also, let me know if you're interested in this. I saw your notes and I have an awesome video for you that will help you solve XYZ problem, which we got from the notes from the dialer. Can you shoot me a quick text and let me know if this is your number and I can send it over to you? Number one, who doesn't want free shit, especially that solves their problems? They're obviously going to respond to this because they want that, right? Now, number two, the reason we bait the response is because the higher the engagement from the lead, the higher the show up rate is. So we want to do everything in our power to get them to have higher engagement with us, with the sales team, with everything, so that they are more likely to show up to the call. Now, that's honestly the overview of the group chat method, but there are a few pros and cons which I'm going to be going over. The cons, though, of not being able to see the messages the closers are sending, and also losing the ease of sending from the CRM directly, are far outweighed by the pros of having a way higher show up rate and you making more money, obviously, right? What I mean by that is you cannot really monitor the group chats via CRM because they're communicating via personal phone. Unless you have their phone, you can't really see the messages unless you're in the group chat. but you won't really be inside the group chat because it's just the setter and the closer and the lead. So what I would do to combat this is, and what we do actually, is we just have these sales reps screen share on the sales team meetings. If you need to check the communication in the group chat to make sure everything is going smoothly, just have them screen share, show inside of there, and you'll be all set. As a rule of thumb though, for the sales process, you are constantly going to be using feedback from the sales calls and the sales team, whatever it is, the questions and objections, to reiterate your VSL and your pre-call assets and your pre-call emails, all of that stuff as well. All right, now we're pretty much halfway through. That wraps up the first and second pillar, the metrics, and then also the sales process. Having those two in place will already make you a fuck ton more money and help you scale way more. But now we are going to be moving into content, because we can have the sales process in place, we can have all the metrics tracked, but if we're not actually getting leads into our pipeline, what's the point? So the goal here is going to be to bring as many qualified leads into the funnel as possible. And we are going to do this using a proper content engine, using YouTube and Instagram stories specifically, which I'll get into in a little bit, obviously. But in order to understand what I'm about to teach you, you need to understand the buyer's journey. So I'm probably going to sound a little stupid reading through all of this, but just bear with me. This will help you understand why we need to make content and how the whole entire process works, from, cold lead all the way to a paying customer. Okay, so just bear with me here real quick. Okay, this is the buyer's journey. I stumble across Jonas's content. I drop a comment and ask if he has any free resources. He sends me something solid to my email. Honestly, better than most paid stuff I've seen. I keep seeing his stories. Dude is constantly posting client wins. What even is his offer? I start watching more of his reels. His content actually hits, not just service level tips. He feels different from the typical online guys. No ego, just real value. Then Jonas DMs me. Not pushy, just a real conversation. He seems like a chill, genuine guy. I catch one of his stories linking to a YouTube video. I check it out. That video flips a switch. Super valuable and opened my mind to a whole new angle. He invites me to book a call. I hesitate. Maybe not the right time. I keep watching his content though. His clients are crushing it. One case study catches my attention. A 17-year-old makes $70,000 a month with coaching, and he has a funding offer doing $300,000 a month. I watched that full interview. Damn, that guy was literally in my same position. Now I'm curious. I book a call to see what Jonas is offering. The service sounds next level, not like anything I've seen before. Then the price hits me. $10,000? I'm unsure. Is this really for me? Doubt creeps in. Maybe someone else can help me. I back off. But then I see Jonas plays the piano and he's only 18. That's actually dope. I'm young too and into music. The more I see of him, the more I like the guy. His humor, his mindset, the way he talks. He's not just about money, he actually cares about the people, and he seems fun to work with. His content keeps hitting, he clearly knows his stuff. It's not just results. I relate to how he sees things, the way he thinks. At this point, I know he can take me from A to B. I just need to get out of my own way. I'm ready. I am in. So as you can see, that was a 24-stage process that this person went through to buy whatever I'm selling, right? And this could be for you as well. But your leads, most of the time, they are not just seeing one YouTube video, seeing one Instagram reel, dropping on your VSL, and then buying your product right away. That usually doesn't happen. It's usually a whole entire 24-step process these people go through. And that is the importance of having content in place, because we need to connect with our audience. We need to give them value. We need to do all of these things, which I'm about to show you with proper content engine system, so that this person doesn't drop off the beginning and never come back, and they actually do end up coming back so that they can close. So with that said, the first part inside of this engine is going to be our positioning. We need to position ourselves as the guide in the middle of the marketplace, because on the left, we have someone who is an expert, always teaching, they know everything, they're just giving out info, value, all that stuff. This person will get high leads, but low sales. And then all the way on the right, we have that person who is very friendly. They're always connecting with their audience. They're likable. They're building rapport. This person gets high engagement, but no leads. And this is important. I'll go more into this later, but this is the base of our whole entire content strategy. Okay. So the key principle, we are going to want to build a connection and trust first before we actually shift our audience's beliefs. So we need to connect with our audience. You need to connect with your audience before attempting to change how they think. And that's very important, okay? You need to build the relationship and earn their trust, and then you have the ability to change their perspective. I see a lot of coaches, agencies, service providers trying to shift the way people think, but their leads, their audience doesn't even know who they are. They don't know their story. And so the leads have no reason to actually listen to them and shift their beliefs. So I want you to ask yourself, why should they choose to work with you over everyone else, especially if you haven't built that connection first? People, especially nowadays, will only truly partner with you when they connect with your values, what you believe in, and when they know, like, and trust you as a person, not just as a service, but as an actual person. In today's market, these services are so commoditizable. There are so many people selling stuff nowadays that we need to actually build a strong personal brand so that people buy into you instead of your service. Like, literally, there could be a better service out there, but you'll have people buying from you because of who you are. So we need to share this inside of our content, which I'll get into in a second. There are 4 types of content that you should be posting. Number 1 is teaching content. So we obviously do want to teach our audience, show them that we are actually experts in the space. So put on your expert hat, but we want to be a painkiller and not a vitamin. And what I mean by that is a vitamin, which is what you don't want to be. For example, let's say we're making content on sales. Don't make a video like this where it's like, here are the 3 cool books I like about sales. That is terrible. Instead, we want to be the painkiller where, make a video where it's, here's why your sales calls don't close and how to fix it today. Because the pain is their sales calls aren't closing, and the actual painkiller is how to fix it, which is going to be our process, instead of just being a vitamin, which just kind of helps them a little bit with, the 3 books you like about sales. This is teaching content. We want to post content like this. And then we also want to post content where we are showing client success stories, interviews, past work and projects, showcase your unique process and methods. An example here is, let's say your client scaled to $50,000 a month. You can create a whole entire breakdown on a Miro board showing your audience the step-by-step process on how they did it, or even just do an interview with that person and show your audience how they did it through that person's lens. And then we want to create content where we are sharing, and this is a little bit more vulnerable, but it will help you connect with your audience a little bit more. So if you can crush this, this will get you a lot more sales, and it will get people to actually resonate with you way more, which again directly correlates with how much sales you will get. So bring people into your actual life, share family moments, daily activities, your thoughts and opinions, and this will build personal connection with your audience. Nowadays, people are scared to share their opinions. They're scared to share inside of their personal life. They think it's cringe, whatever it is. But let me tell you, you are going to make way more money when you are posting your opinions and your thoughts, because you will build a way more niched audience that will pay you a lot more compared to everyone who will pay you a lot less. And then we want to make content where we are giving as well. So providing resources, opportunities, trainings, and invitations to work with you through like a webinar, for example. Now, these slides were just an overview of our content strategy, but now I'm specifically going to be getting into YouTube. So YouTube is going to be for building trust and shifting beliefs. Now, the goal here is to build massive trust with your audience and shift their beliefs so they genuinely want to work with you. And why does YouTube work, you might be asking? It's the easiest way to show both your expertise and personality in one place. And there have been so many studies out there that prove it takes someone an average of 7 hours of consuming your content before they become a customer. And YouTube fills up that time very, very quickly, okay? Because it's much easier to convert someone who watches a 20-minute, 40-minute, hour-long YouTube video compared to someone who only sees a 30-second scripted reel, right? So with that said, I'm going to be talking about how to find good content ideas, how to validate your ideas, and then how to actually create videos that actually generate you sales. So starting with finding good content ideas, the first part is going to be similar to what we talked about before in the emails and those 30 video sections as well, which is going to be objections you hear on your sales calls. You can create videos around that, questions and challenges from current clients, content that inspires you, content you disagree with, reflecting on your own journey, so mistakes, lessons, things you wish you knew, because people buy services, they buy mentorships, all of that stuff to speed up their process, right? And when you make a video, let's say you've been in your game for 2 or 3 years. And so when someone sees you making a video talking about your mistakes and you've been in the game for 3 years, they see this as, okay, this is going to speed up my process by so much, maybe even 3 years, because this guy is telling me everything he wished he didn't do, which I can just avoid and speed up my process. So this is a very good content idea. Same as these ones. You can also create viral or trending content in your space as well, which obviously it is really good because it's viral and trending. Now, validating your ideas that you have from over here, what we're going to do is you need to ask yourself 4 questions. What exactly do you want your audience to know? Okay. Why do you want them to know that? What do you want them to do? And why do you want them to do that? So for example, I'll literally tell you why I made this video and answer these questions for you live. What do I want you to know? I want you to know everything it takes to scale your book a call funnel with these 4 pillars, right? Why do I want you to know that? I want you to know that because with this information, you'll either be able to speed up your process in scaling your book a call funnel, or you'll look at this and think, damn, this is a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do this. And that leads me into what do I want them to do? If you are that first person, I want you to go rip and, have fun doing this yourself. But if you're that second person, I want you to go down below and book a call with me, right? Now, why do I want you to do that? Number one, if you are that first person, because if you implement this and rip it yourself, you will get results. And later on, I'm hoping that you text me with the results that you got, because I would feel good about myself with the advice that I provided you to help you make more money. Obviously, I love helping people. But if you are that second person, it's like, okay, you book a call. I see how I can help you. If we align, obviously, I help you make more money and you help me make more money. So it's a win-win, right? That's why I made this video, transparently. One important thing though, views do not equal success. Do not focus on views. Obviously, views are good. If you're getting 2 views, it's like you're not really going to get too many sales probably, but the success of your YouTube channel depends on sales, obviously, not views. Good YouTube ideas often get fewer views but generate more sales. Like, for example, my first ever YouTube video I posted, which honestly the targeting was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. It got like 4.3 thousand views, but I literally got no sales off of that video. But a more recent video, it has literally 1/8 of the views. That has like 500 views, but I made $15,000 off of that video. And it's because the targeting was really, really good. So make sure we are not focusing on just views and we're actually focusing on sales instead. Now, this is a very important part, so I want you to pay attention. YouTube videos that actually generate sales. Number one, there's 3, okay? Number 1 is the client interviews. So show your audience that you have taken someone just like them from where they are to where they want to be. Every single mentorship that I have bought has had client interviews, and these are honestly the biggest selling point for me. And I'm sure a lot of other people are like that as well. When I see someone winning in my situation, like someone with the same race, the same kind of, background, whatever it is, I naturally and subconsciously correlate myself with that person and think, that person is just like me. Why am I not doing as good as them? And then obviously I get sold just like that. So have client interviews on your YouTube. You can have a whole page for it, whatever it is. And then also we're going to want case study breakdowns. So show the actual process you use to get results for someone similar to your audience. I have videos like this up on my YouTube channel as well. You can look at them. Like, for example, I have a video. It's like how I built a 70K a month info product from scratch. Now that whole entire video is me breaking down on a Miro board exactly what I did to make that money for my client. And you could do something very similar. Miro, Figma, like all those kind of whiteboard softwares, applications are really good for breaking down stuff like this. So you can do that. And then breaking limiting beliefs as well. So help them stop using old methods and start using new ones instead. This is one of the best ways to get attention and shift how they think. For example, let's say I made a video. So this video is about, how to make a ton of money with your book a call funnel. But let's say my next video was stop using the book a call funnel, do this instead. That video is going to get a lot of attention because I actually love the book a call funnel. I post about it a decent amount. And so if you see that video, you're going to be like, what the fuck? You're going to click on that video and I'm going to shift your belief to, possibly running a different funnel instead. And you're going to listen to me because, I've helped you out with the book a call funnel. So, why not listen to this next idea I have to bring up? Another example is like, stop using long form YouTube videos to get clients, do this instead. And it could be a video going into, why Instagram story sequences are so important to get sales, right? So it's not technically shitting on like the book a call funnel for in this example. It would just be to bring up a new idea of how people can make more money or do whatever else instead, right? But with that said, let's get into the Instagram story strategy, which I just used in the example because this actually will make you a lot of money, and I'm about to talk about it. The whole goal here is to give people more than you take. So always mix up your stories, number one. If you're always doing call to actions, if you're always, hard selling on your story, people will start ignoring your stories because they can predict what's coming. It doesn't even have to be a CTA all the time. If it's just the same of one thing all the time, people are going to stop clicking on your story because they are not anticipating what's coming. They already know. A few examples is one of my current clients, like back in the day, they would only post hard CTAs because they would sell a digital product. Every single day, it would be a repost of the reel they posted for the day, and then also a hard CTA to go buy their digital products. And they're making a pretty good amount of money and everything, but their story views would go way down. And so when we would launch mentorships and stuff, we weren't making as much money as we could. And then also their digital product sales went down as well because, people just knew that the creator was hard selling every single day. But then I came in and obviously switched this Instagram story strategy to what I'm about to share with you. And we literally 5x their story views and we made so much more money with the next mentorship launch because we had way more viewers. And we were able to build more of a connection and shift their beliefs because of this whole entire process I'm about to show you. So let me just get into it, okay? The weekly story structure. As you can see, there's a different one for each day. It's not just CTA, 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 CTA. That fucking sucks. Do not do that. Monday, we want to post a client. And honestly, you can do this on whatever days you want. This whole entire structure you can be flexible with. This is not the Bible. You do not have to follow this religiously. But yeah, with that said, Monday, post a client result with a direct call to action to DM you. And this could be, where you're booking calls with people or just selling through the DMs or whatever it is. Tuesday, you should provide value and help them understand why they haven't achieved their goal yet. You really want to dig into their pain points here and break limiting beliefs and give them new ones. So with this story, number one, you're providing value, which people like obviously, but you're also helping them understand why they haven't achieved their goal, which then once they understand that, and you are the one that told them that, they are going to be able to actually listen to you, and then you can break their limiting beliefs, give them new ones, which could be potentially to sell them on your mentorship in the future. Then Wednesday, you want to share a personal story that will inspire your audience. So this really gets your audience kind of in touch with you, your personality, your background, stuff like that, so that they build a connection with you, right? Because when we're selling, we want to build a connection first, because again, we're selling ourselves rather than our service. Then Thursday, you want to post your own personal wins. Yes, it's cool to, post client results and everything, which we will do and we do throughout this story structure, but you want to also post your own wins to show your audience that you're winning as well. So share a payment screenshot, a personal achievement. It doesn't have to be about money or, anything that demonstrates your success. Could be a gym picture, whatever it is, just to let your audience in a little bit more into your life, okay? Friday, a soft CTA. So up here we have a hard CTA, which is, direct action to DM you, for example, or click on a link or whatever it is. But Friday is a soft call to action for people to DM you for a free resource. This nurtures your audience, and, you can also upsell them as well through this too. Saturday and Sunday, you can honestly just post whatever you want, develop the habit of creating your own content ideas, and then just repeat this, every single week. This will get your audience anticipating what you are going to be posting on your story, so they actually click with curiosity, and then, boom, they're just hit with a CTA. Then they're hit with, something else that's going to nurture them or something that's going to help them know or trust you more, which then in the future you post another CTA and they actually hit you up this time because you connected with them the day before. So this honestly works wonders. My clients make a ton of money through this. I am implementing this into my own account as well, which is going to make me a lot of money too. So run it up with me, implement this into your business, and we will all make a lot of money. Okay. Now, with that said, that covers the content, the sales process, and the metrics. Now we are moving into the sales management. The goal here is to make sure the team performance and motivation is high, because now we have everything set in place, but without a strong sales team, it honestly all goes to shit and none of it matters anyways. So we need to make sure our sales team is on point to actually scale. So we will start with running effective sales team calls. The purpose and the main goal here is to keep everyone accountable, build a strong team culture, and get everyone pumped up for the week ahead. These calls need to be something that your sales team actually looks forward to when they join the call. They should be genuinely excited and happy to be there. And the framework I would recommend to use, if you're kind of just running an evergreen funnel, I would do 3 calls a week. If you're launching, I would do a call every single day. But for you guys, you're scaling most likely if you're watching this video. So, 3 a week will cut it. Call number 1 is going to be a team accountability call. So start with connections. Honestly, with your calls, start with the first 5 to 10 minutes just connecting with your sales reps. Don't just jump straight into business. Spend the first part on the call just catching up with everyone. Show them you actually care about them, and joke around, have some laughs, and build that personal connection, because it's kind of like the content thing, where you need to build that connection with them first before you can shift their beliefs. Here, it's like you need to build that connection with them first before you guys go into talking about reviewing the numbers, holding everyone accountable, stuff like that. But with that said, the next step is reviewing the numbers. So go through your dashboard tracking together. If you don't have a dashboard with all your metrics, again, go watch that video in the description. I'll leave the link there to watch it. It's a video I posted last week showing you every metric you need to track inside of your business, so you can see everything, but also for this part specifically, you'll be able to see all of your setters' no-show rates, or all of your closers' close rates, no-show rates, how much cash they've collected, stuff like that. So at this point, you're going to want to talk about revenue generated, cash collected, pickup rate, show rate, close rate, any bottlenecks you're seeing inside of the business, and what needs to be done to fix them. And then you are also going to want to hold everyone accountable. This is where you address the performance issues. If someone's setting numbers are low, for example, you have to call it out in front of the group and make them understand that, them having poor performance isn't just letting them down, it's also letting the whole entire team down, because the less money they make is, less money for everyone else. Now, call 2 and 3, these are going to be skill development calls. These are very important with scaling, because the more skilled your sales reps are, obviously, the more money that you will make. So call 2 is going to be a closer call. And to run this effectively, you actually need to understand sales. So if you don't, you may need to implement someone who does, a sales manager, something like that. But anyways, pick a call from the past week that could have gone better. So in our dashboard, actually, we have a section that shows, all the no closes and stuff. So we usually just pick a call from there randomly, but we do that. And then we go through exactly what they did well and what needs improvement. So after that, we give them feedback, run a mock call right there and then, and have them implement the changes you just discussed. And this is with the closer, by the way. You're doing all this with the closer. Same thing with the setter as well. You need to understand appointment setting to do this, but you're going to look at specific conversations that were qualified but didn't end up in bookings, right? Because we're losing money on those. And you can even look at calls that, hung up the call as well, and, figure out what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and what could be improved. And then obviously, again, run that mock scenario right away where you're practicing implementing exactly what you just taught them. These help so much, honestly. And when you're watching these calls as well, you can also be listening for objections and questions as well that you can bring back to the sales process to improve that too. Now back to the dashboard, like I was talking about, for these setters, you want to look at the calls that didn't show up as well and didn't close, and figure out maybe it was a setting process problem. When the setter was calling this person, maybe they didn't show up because the setter said something specific on this call. So I would review those calls as well, figure out what the problem is there, if it is their problem, and then find calls as well that didn't close and didn't show up. And then again, you're just gonna be practicing the implementation, running mock calls and setting scenarios where they practice implementing exactly what you just taught them. Now that was the sales team calls, but now we're gonna be talking about building unbreakable team culture, because this goes hand in hand. This is very important for scaling as well. Team culture is going to be a very important factor when it comes to your success with scaling your book a call funnel. Your team needs to do their job with complete conviction, and that only happens when they 100% believe in your product, your business, and you as a leader. Because when they truly believe in your mission for the business and everything, they will run through walls for you and your business. I want you guys to remember this. The energy you bring to your team will be reflected right back to you. If you're coming to these calls being, super drowsy, super tired, sad and mad, whatever it is, that energy is going to be reflected right back to you. You need to come to your sales team meets being high energy, happy, excited to see everyone, because you want that energy back to you, and you want that energy reflected back into the business as well. So I have a few action steps for you to build that team culture. Number 1 is going to be reinforcing the mission constantly. So go through client results and transformations on every single call. You want to make sure that your sales team knows they're genuinely helping people change their lives. The last thing you want is a sales team selling something they don't believe in, right? So any success story that a client has, bring to the sales call. Let's say someone inside of the mentorship or inside of, the agency made an extra $50,000 this month, whatever it is. Bring that screenshot, bring that video into the sales team meet, show everyone, and it will help them actually believe in the product, so that when they are selling people, they have 10 times more conviction, which helps them sell way easier. Another thing we are going to want to do is create personal accountability systems. So another thing that we do for our sales team is, not even inside of sales calls directly, but even in like the group chats and stuff like that, we even have a channel for this separately, but getting everyone aligned on health, lifestyle, and fitness goals. Like I said, in some of our offers, we have a fitness channel where, we just send topless pictures to other dudes. And we also have a wins channel. So, any wins throughout the day, throughout the week, whatever you just share, it's like, oh, got a new date. Sick, bro. Awesome. It just builds that team culture. You guys get to understand who each other are, what's going on throughout each other's days. And it just helps build that connection, that relationship with each other, which is what you really want inside of your sales team. Okay. I've even seen sales teams all use like the Whoop bands, like the health Whoop bands. I think you've probably seen them. They help with like your sleep and everything. And what you're able to do with those is like join the same group, so everyone can see the quality of sleep everyone got, and just it's a cool way to keep each other accountable with health and stuff like that. So you can get creative here, just really build that connection, that culture with your sales team. And also on a personal level, you're going to want to build personal relationships with your sales team too. So get to know each person individually and become friends with them, because like at the end of the day, what's better than running a business with people that you genuinely enjoy being around, being with, and working with? Because you work hard together, you enjoy the process together. It's honestly the ideal situation. This personal bond is the most important thing you need to understand. To build a killer sales team, you must have these relationships. And honestly, other business owners, they will try to poach your sales reps because, everyone needs sales reps at the end of the day. And sometimes your sales reps will be looking for different offers if yours isn't good enough. So the question is, how do you create bonds so strong that your team will reject better opportunities to stay with you? When your relationships with your sales team are strong enough, your sales reps will turn down 5-figure offers from competitors because they would rather work with you and make even just a little bit less money, which logically, if you think about it, that sounds dumb, but when it comes to team culture, it makes sense. For example, a few months ago, I actually live in California and I flew out my sales team after we did a big launch to celebrate, doing the big launch, have a good time together. And we honestly built lifelong relationships because of it. And the key thing here is, don't treat your sales team like employees, treat them like family. If that was my brother, I would definitely fly him out. And it's the same thing with the sales teams because I see them like brothers, right? It's a tribe. And so because of that little trip we had, it's like these guys, they're still in sales. If I hop on a new offer, if we do another big launch, I can hit them up and, they'd be willing to hop on with me because we built that connection. They're still in sales. They like our team culture and, they'd be willing to run through walls for the business and, for the team, just like I was mentioning before. Now, we are also going to want to set goals that drive performance for the sales team. So there is a 2-goal system. Keep your entire sales team aligned by setting both long-term and short-term goals and make sure that you add in goals that benefit them and not just the business itself. Okay. So for long-term goals, these should be ambitious. Honestly, don't undercut yourself. Be ambitious with these. This will inspire long-term loyalty with your sales team. Okay. So for example, it's like, okay, impact 1,000 people's lives, reach $150,000 cash collected, and, help 750 people achieve a specific transformation. This is more in the offer owner's hands, but it's a good goal to shoot for the whole entire team combined. And then more short-term goals as well, which are achievement focused. So these should be challenging, but achievable as well, like I mentioned before. So example, let's hit $70,000 monthly cash collected for the business. And then this correlates back up here where I was talking about, you want to add in goals that benefit them, not just the business. Set goals for the business, yes, but also set goals for the setters and the closers as well. Like for example, let's get each setter to $3,000 monthly or $6,000 monthly for the closers, stuff like that. So that they have a goal to reach for as well instead of just the business as a whole. Always think of your sales team first. When you prioritize their success and well-being, the business numbers will follow. All right, so now you understand the 4 pillars you need to scale your book a call funnel. If you can lock in these 4 pillars, I am telling you, there is no reason that you shouldn't be able to scale to at least $100,000 to $300,000 a month and beyond. If you're looking at all of this and you're thinking, wow, this is really amazing, but I don't have the time to build all of this out. As I mentioned before, my agency has a done-for-you service for high-ticket coaches, agencies, and service providers to implement everything that I talked about in this video without you having to do any of the work at all. So if you're interested in working with me and my agency to scale your business, there's a link in the description below. It's going to be the first one. Click on that, see if we align. And if we do, obviously go ahead and book your call with me. If that's the case, we can get you rolling, making a ton of money with your book a call funnel or any other funnel as well. Anyways, that is the end of the video. If you learned something new, drop a comment below what your favorite part was and follow me on Instagram for more insights on my business, my life, stuff like that. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed these 45 slides of straight sauce to help you scale your book a call funnel. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.